1886, the Cherokee Nation was completely settled in Indian Territory, land that had been guaranteed to them forever by the United States. However, less than 50 years after removing the tribe from its original homelands, the federal government was already making plans to acquire even more Indian land. On February 8, 1887, Congress passed the General Allotment Act, or Dawes Act, which would change the lives of American Indians forever. Under this act, the United States gained millions of acres of land from citizens of the 5 civilized tribes in Indian Territory. This seizure provided plenty of land for white homesteaders and cleared the way for Oklahoma statehood in 1907. Henry L. Dawes was the United States congressman who proposed the act. The Dawes Act would abolish each tribe's communal ownership of land and instead allot a certain amount of land to each individual tribal citizen. The rest of the tribe's territories would be deemed surplus and opened for development by non-native settlers and corporations. In 1896, the Dawes Commission entered the Cherokee Nation and began working to formally enroll each citizen, process them with a number, and allot them a certain amount of land. Each Cherokee Nation citizen, including children, was entitled to land worth $325.60 and would include no fewer than 40 acres. To ensure that each citizen was accounted for, the Commission sent locating parties and set up 14 enrollment sites in Tahlequah, Muskogee, and Fort Gibson, among others. Citizens were often required to give testimonies to prove their citizenship or the citizenship of a neighbor or family member. When the land allotments were assigned, many Cherokee citizens' parcels were split up, even in different counties, with surplus land for white settlers in between. The end result was a checkerboard pattern across present-day Oklahoma, making Cherokee management of their properties difficult. Cherokee citizens often sold their allotments or had it seized for alleged failure to pay taxes. The Cherokee enrollment process lasted until March 4, 1907, after which no further Indians were eligible to receive a land allotment or tribal citizenship. 41,693 enrollees were ultimately listed, and the Dawes final rolls were established as a basis for citizenship in the Cherokee Nation. Every Cherokee Nation citizen today can trace their roots to an ancestor on the Dawes rolls.
In the late 1800s, there was something called the Dawes Rolls, which was basically a census that made records of people's ethnic backgrounds in order to determine which Native American tribes would get certain land allotments and other benefits. After slavery, many black people were associated with some of these tribes by bloodline, through marriage, through adoption, and even servitude. And because they were associated with these tribes, many black people were entitled to some of these benefits. The government did not want blacks to get these benefits, so they created a separate freedmen's list specifically for black people. They also started to list any full-blooded Native American who had African features as black because they didn't want them getting those benefits either. At the same time, they allowed white citizens to come in and pay money under the table to be listed as part Native American.
1895 and 1896, when a lot of the whites found out the benefits that these blacks were going to be entitled to, a lot of whites went to the Dawes Commission and say, look, why don't you put my name on there? They said, but you're not an Indian. So that's what they said, well, I'll give you $5. So the rule got around, the policy got around that for $5, that a white could put his name on the Dawes rolls and be called himself an Indian and be entitled to all these benefits, and all their children could be entitled to all these benefits forever. And so that became known as what's called a $5 Indian. And so if you go around now and check most of the Indians, the so-called Indians in America, about 90% of them are not even Indians. Those are just whites now who are passing as Indians. But they're getting all the benefits. And they're not paying any taxes, getting free college education. They put up a little reservation on the land that they don't live on. They have another home off and get all kind of benefits.